Hello again, everyone. Here is another quick review of what we covered in class regarding the statistical accuracy stuff, just in case you needed another, um, just a review and quick recap of how to do some of these things. So remember, we get the same data that we used in class. We've got two columns here. One is the result of the test, so we can think of this as, the prediction. And then we have the actual results of the test, whether they're positive or negative. And so we can take those two and create our contingency table from that result. All right, so again, we want to use the pivot table option. We'll find that under data. We can go to pivot table. All right, actually, I'm going to do our little trick here just to make it a little bit easier so we don't have to select it ourselves. I'm going to use go over. I'm going to hold shift down, right arrow, and then I'm going to hit control down arrow to get all of those values, since there are like 1,000 here. I think on your assignment it's a little bit fewer, so it's a little bit nicer. All right, once we've kind of selected these first, it'll be a little easier to work with when we do the pivot table. It just means we don't have to select them with our mouse. All right, so once I've got that, then I'll go to data, pivot table, new sheet, create. And this should be pretty straightforward again. We know we're going to use the rows and columns this time to put both variables in our table. All right, the rows, we'll go ahead and use the test result. We can see we've got our categories here. I'm going to change the order to descending just because usually we kind of read it like this, positive or negative. Remember, the test result here is the prediction. It's the result of the test. So it's not necessarily the actual result. All right, now the difference here, we'll add the columns, okay, and we'll use the actual result here across the columns that we've got. We can change that to descending as well. Okay, all right, so now we have our values are almost ready to go. All right, so we can add these in. It doesn't really matter. They're going to count up over both of these cases either way, so it doesn't matter which one we pick. It should give us the same results. And pretty close now. We can kind of see here what we've got. All right, if we wanted to, we could change them to percentages. It's really kind of up to us how we want to do the next step. That's pretty straightforward. Here now, as we read the table, remember like these individual cells that we have, these are the cases that the test result was positive and this was positive as well. We call those the true positives. Down here, these are the correct results too. The test result came back negative and they actually are negative. And so we can kind of use these to answer some of those questions. All right. Now we might want to, the questions are probably going to ask, true positive rate, true negative rate, stuff like that. We can calculate those. They might ask a question here too. Here's kind of a good idea, like how many actual positive cases are there? Well, here's the actual results. These are the characterizations of those positive results. So we can see there's 65 that we've got here. All right, true positive rate. If you ever need to go back and check what our calculations are, remember the true positives divided by the true positives plus the false negatives. So we know that's going to be, here are the true positives divided by the true positives plus the false negatives. Those are the incorrect. So it's this divided by this. All right, we might want to get the true negative rate. And we might think here too, in this case, of the positives, what this is really trying to tell us, right, if we want to think about it, is, how accurate are we doing at predicting these? And in this case, we can kind of see that there are a lot of false negatives that we have right here. All right, the true negative rate of those that are negative cases, these right here, how many did the test correctly specify? So we can do, it should be this divided by this. And again, if we want to, we can check back with our notes to see that's what that is happening. The true negatives divided by the false positives plus the true negatives. I think we had precision. Precision, if we go back and check, the true positives divided by the true positives plus the false positives. So that's across this row right here. We can see here are the true positives divided by the true positives plus the false positives, which would be that one. How precise is the test? Okay, and then accuracy. It's really nice, I think, just being able to make these calculations inside the spreadsheet. It gives our results really, it makes it very simple to get them. Accuracy in this case, you want to look at the accurate cases, so the true positives plus the true negatives divided by the total. All right, so we'll have to use parentheses in this case. And then it's divided by the summation of across all these in the inner cells, but that's just the total number that we have there. All right, and if we check just to make sure that looks about right as far as our thing goes. So go ahead, use the slides, use this too to kind of help, but those are how you might do those calculations for your assignment.